China is holding yet more drills near Taiwan. The US confirms North Korea is sending troops to Russia. China claims ignorance. And China's consulate in Myanmar was bombed. That and more on this week's China News Headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. This episode is sponsored by Surfshark. Whenever you go online, you should be using a VPN like Surfshark to cover your tracks and protect your identity. I'll tell you more at the end. India and China have come to an agreement to de-escalate border tensions. Again. No specific details have been given, but India's foreign secretary says an agreement has been arrived at on patrolling arrangements along the line of actual control in the India-China border areas, leading to disengagement and a resolution of the issues that had arisen in these areas in 2020. There you have it. Tensions are now and forever alleviated because the CCP always keeps its word. The line of actual control, or the LAC, is in the Himalayas on the border of Ladakh. India and Chinese troops have clashed multiple times in this region over the years, with both China and India heavily militarizing the area. But this is the Chinese Communist Party we're talking about, lover of gray zone warfare. So they've also built a series of villages in the region. Villages that just happen to need tunnels, helipads, and sometimes even military bases. Totally just for civilians. I mean, come on. Whose neighborhood doesn't have a helipad? We did a video on this a few months ago, which I'll link below. Now, India has responded in kind, but in recent months, both countries have sought to reach a diplomatic solution before things got out of hand, or at least more out of hand. This agreement comes at a good time for both countries, since Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is due to travel to Russia for a meeting of the BRICS countries. So this will definitely make things a little less awkward at that meeting. The United States has confirmed that North Korea has sent at least 3,000 troops to Russia for training, adding that they could end up fighting for Russia in Ukraine. The reason I say confirmed is because South Korean intelligence said the same thing earlier this month. They also said that the North Korean troops were being disguised as Eastern Russians and given fake IDs. I guess that plan is kind of moot now, isn't it? Meanwhile, a Chinese mercenary fighting for Russia has said that North Korean soldiers have already been killed in Ukraine. A Chinese mercenary fighting for Russia. Yeah, China is as committed to peace between Moscow and Kiev as Deadpool is to clean highbrow comedy. The mercenary said on a podcast posted on X that 8 people have died, senior officers. These were most likely military advisors helping with equipment North Korea sent a while ago, however, as the frontline troops are still in training. Now, Russia hasn't commented on these reports, and neither has the Hermit Kingdom, probably because hermits aren't known for being super talkative. Meanwhile, China says it isn't aware of any North Korean troops in Russia, which I believe completely and totally without question. But with North Korea sending Russia troops and weapons, and China helping Russia in various different ways, including sending pre-assembled drones and spare parts to the Russian military, it makes sense that some are calling China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran the new axis of evil. I'd quibble a bit with their use of the term new, but all right, World War III, here we come. Speaking of fiery destruction, China's consulate in Mandalay has been bombed. And I'm not talking about the Mandalay Bay Hotel in Las Vegas. I'm talking about the famous Mandalay in China's war-torn southern neighbor, Myanmar, which has been unstable since, well, basically forever, and subject to China's meddling. The civil war in the country has pitted various armed factions, mostly made up of minority groups, against the military junta dictatorship. China has supported Marxist-leaning groups near its border due to the dictatorship's support for criminal enterprises that have targeted Chinese citizens. China's Air Force has even reportedly recently fired on junta jets, carrying out bombing runs on rebels near its border. But China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi also visited Myanmar back in August to show support for the junta, which Beijing has armed. China's really playing all sides here. This is like going to a roulette table and saying, "Come on, black, or red, or green." So it's unclear who's behind the bombing of the consulate. What's clear is that it shouldn't have been able to occur. The compound is sealed off to the outside with a high fence and police on sentry. CCTVs record anyone who passes the premises, and the 2-story building has indoor and outdoor security. So either the Chinese authorities are lying or inept, or knowing them both. Only light damage was reported, and China strongly condemned the attack and called for an investigation. The junta government said it is investigating who's behind the bombing, but the incident did come after the CCP put pressure on rebel groups to scale back their military operations near the Chinese border. So as usual, it looks like instead of being an honest broker to both sides, the CCP just made both sides hate and distrust them. And after the break, China holds yet more military exercises near Taiwan. If we're living in a simulation, someone has accidentally set it on repeat. Welcome back. China is getting some bad news on the business front. According to certain sources, Fidelity International, a major financial firm, has cut 500 jobs in China, marking the largest downsizing in recent years of a global financial firm in the world's second largest economy. The comments came under the condition of anonymity, although Fidelity International stressed that it remains committed to growing its mutual fund business in China. But back in March, Reuters reported that Fidelity International embarked on a global downsizing with the target of trimming 9% of its workforce, which is around 1,000 jobs. But the cuts went deeper in China, affecting at least 16% of its 120-strong mutual fund unit. China is holding live fire drills near Taiwan, just 1 week after the CCP held a huge air and sea drill that it described as punishment for Taiwan's president rejecting Beijing's claims of sovereignty over the island, aka existing as they always have, punish them. These new drills were held near the Pingtan Islands off the coast of Fujian province, according to a notice from the Chinese Maritime Safety Administration. It warned ships to avoid the area, but didn't give any other details. Taipei's defense ministry claims these new drills were part of an annual exercise and said it was tracking them, but added that it cannot be ruled out that it is one of the ways to expand the deterrent effect in line with the dynamics in the Taiwan Strait. You can tell these drills are definitely intimidating Taiwan when their response is, "Oh, another one, yeah, I guess we'll keep an eye on it." Xi Jinping is calling on Chinese troops to boost war preparedness. These comments were reported by state-run media on Saturday, not long after Beijing wrapped up its Joint Sword 2024B, major military drills around Taiwan. He probably saw how bored Taiwan reacted to his drills and thought, oh, we need to recruit. And given that the CCP hasn't fought an actual war since its ill-fated invasion of Vietnam in 1979, I guess I can see where he's coming from. Xi made the statement last Thursday while visiting a brigade of the People's Liberation Army Rocket Force. Specifically, he said the military should comprehensively strengthen training and preparation for war and ensure troops have solid combat capabilities. He also added that soldiers must enhance their strategic deterrent and combat capability. Now I see why Chinese mercenaries are fighting for Russia against the Ukrainians. Although I'm not sure how many of them will actually come back healthy or at all to boost China's war readiness. Turns out dying doesn't make great practice. These comments are particularly concerning, not just because they are hot on the tail of the Joint Sword 2024B military drills near Taiwan, which, as we saw, was followed almost immediately by smaller-scale live-fire drills, but also because some Western officials fear that Beijing might attack Taiwan in 2027. That's why the U.S. is working with its Western and Indo-Pacific allies on joint naval drills, military aid packages, and shoring up alliances and deterrence factors. This includes a recent U.S.-Canadian joint military transit through the Taiwan Strait, which the CCP obviously was not thrilled about. Sending military near Taiwan? That's our thing. Quit copying us. China is facing a number of serious problems that are only worsening, so some may believe that the CCP will not even be capable of mounting such an invasion in the next few years. But it's unwise to brush off Xi's rhetoric as a mere threat or boast. The West and its allies in the region need to work together to strengthen not just their own individual militaries, but also their joint operational partnerships. Because if the last 2 years and 2 wars have shown us anything, it's that tyrants are totally trustworthy and we should do business with them. And did you know that every time you go online, everything you do is potentially compromised? And that's why no matter where you live, no matter what you do online, you should always be keeping your internet activity private with a VPN like Surfshark. And if you're not taking active steps to protect yourself, everything you do is being tracked and logged by the websites you visit, your internet service provider, and often by your own government. Using a VPN makes you harder to track. Surfshark has servers you can connect to in over 100 countries, more than any other VPN. That makes your connection faster and more reliable. Plus, Surfshark has top-of-the-line encryption and a no-logs policy, meaning they don't collect your browsing data. That's why Surfshark was rated Editor's Choice for the best VPN for privacy and security by PC Mag. So check out Surfshark. With just one Surfshark account, you can connect as many devices as you want. It also comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try out Surfshark risk-free. Go to surfshark.com/uncensored to get up to 4 months extra. That's surfshark.com/uncensored. The link is in the description below. And before YouTube's algorithm sends you off to some random video, click here to check out the latest video from my new gaming channel about why Sonic the Hedgehog is a libertarian. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.